Okay, good evening there, folks. Good Sunday evening. Hope everybody's doing fine. First of all, of course, my daughter running it, administrator from her end, and then my son here, Garth, is up here helping me working on this project. This class is kind of advanced, so if you really pay attention and take notes, it's very helpful. We're going to do different types of stitching, and so I'm going to point out some very important things so you don't have issues like I did over the 50 years of doing leather work. So anyways, when we go to create piping is what we're going to first do. Piping that will be going in between two layers of leather, like if you're going to sew a purse and you want to make it hidden and not have a flesh edge sticking out. Basically, you're sewing the purse or your project inside out, and then when you flip it, you'll have a piece of finished piping, which makes it look very nice. And you can decide what size piping you want, however, big and round, millimeter, etc. And over the years, in the beginning, I started off with like cloth rope stuff you can find at fabric stores. And what I learned is being as a fabric, the fabric will twist and turn and get loose, and it's not solid. So then your piping that you build, your filler, let's say, will want to move and twist around when you're trying to do your work to build your beautiful item. Okay, so what I did myself is these sell different, I'm going to try to keep this so you can see it. Different, this is leather, round leather cord, solid leather. I'm not positive if it's 1 or 2 millimeter, but the thing is, it's solid. It's not wound or bound like a rope is, where it can untwist and twist and give you tremendous issues and ruin your project that you're building. So that's a real important factor if you want to take notes with that. So that is very crucial when you're building a product like that. Okay, so on the page, my daughter Amanda will be posting approximately 5 or 6 pictures of the first steps of what I already have built, simply to save time so we can go through different types of sewing little projects for assembly and making items look nice and showing you how to assemble. So of course, what you've seen in the first 5 steps is this piece of cord that is genuine leather. Okay, there you go. And what that's been done, it has been wrapped with lambskin. This happens to be right here. Very soft, very pliable. Okay, so that is what it's wrapped with. And there again, you'll see it. That's the flesh side. That's your grain side. It's beautiful stuff. So you'll see that in the instructions on our site, on the page. So that's what I did with this here. Is I, put the cord down on the flesh, wrapped it, so you have a nice rounded, smooth edge to it. It just makes a beautiful product. So what we're going to do, so there's contrast in that. I'm going to take this light brown coffee bean that we purchased, and what we'll be doing is we're going to take some 1/2-inch leather tape, not just sticky tape, leather tape, so it has a much stronger adhesive. And we're going to stick it along the edge of this piece of leather on the one side. So first of all, we're going to do that. Do your utmost to keep it right on the money. And then rub that down with your finger, and then take your scissors and trim the excess. Okay, and just for good measure, I'll take my bone folder and just kind of make sure all those are right down into the fibers of the leather, so it can't get anywhere or move or lift, which is highly unlikely. Clean up if there's anything off. So now we have the 1/2-inch leather tape put in position here. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to stick the black lambskin, you're going to see right onto that there, like that. So let's see, we're going to make sure we have this in. Give the corner up. Okay, so then just carefully be up against the edge. And there again, before I go anywhere, as you'll see, that cord is raised, as you're going to see there. Turn that so you can see that. Trying to. Okay, so that's bonded really good. I'm purposely going to take my bone folder here and go right down up to that cord and make sure that rascal is all down good and tight where it is not going to move at all. Because you don't want that, of course. So now it's laid in there, creased in there, sweet. Okay, so now what we'll do is we're going to take another piece of leather tape and we're going to stick it down right about center. And we're going to get rid of the excess right there. And there again, right back like you did before, take your bone folder, your creaser. People have different names for it. And so now that's stuck down again. I try to use as much sticky tape as I can so you don't have to breathe the adhesive. It's not as fun. So now what we'll do is we are then going to take this piece of leather and we'll be sticking it to this here, like this. But now you'll take your modeling tool. Some people prefer, and it's actually even quicker to take your seam ripper and use the point of that to grab the corner. Just a little easier, a little quicker. Just depends, your preference, what you want to do. Okay, so now that's peeled off, and we're going to go and stick the other piece down on here. Okay, so now we're getting quite a thickness there. We're probably talking, maybe 3/8 of an inch. Okay, so now I'm going to get right in there again with the creaser. And now instead of just flat, I'm going to tip it more at an angle, apply more pressure up against that so I can feel and support with your finger here and your thumb back here, and only move that creaser between those points so the leather can't get away from you. And like I just said, we're going to tip it up on its edge, apply more pressure up against that piece of leather that's wrapped with the cord. That way you get more definition where your needle is going to need to go, which of course is very important so you can do a good job. Okay, so you kind of see that's where that crease is, that's where the needle has to go, right down through there. And so on my sewing machine, which we're going to be going to back and forth, I've had to change from a right toe to a left toe foot because of the needle's going to have to go right in here. So that's the purpose. I have to switch in the foot because otherwise the foot is in the way. So we're going to switch cameras here, and we're going to go over here to my sewing machine. That make it harder to see with the blurriness. Okay, so you're gonna lift up your bottom thread coming out of the lead dog, and then out of the needle. I'm using a 23 needle, lift your walking foot, and set it right in there like that. Okay, so I'm gonna put the needle down once. Okay, plant it, and then I'm gonna back stitch. Let's see, I think that could go twice on it. Back stitch.
Can we switch the audio to the camera that's by the sewing machine by chance?
Yeah, just give me a second. Okay, we'll back up here. I use a number 23 needle. I drop the needle in once, and then I back stitch twice on it. So now I'm going to come forward to lock the stitch, and we'll continue. Let me grab this here. We're going to do our best to our ability to keep this walking foot right down against that crease that we put in a moment ago. All right, so now I've got up to that. So this is kind of different for me because it's been a while since I've done this. It's been probably a year or two. Just depends on what I'm building. So it might be really close in spots, and other spots it might be further away. So just you have to bear with me. It's been years since I've done this type of stitch because it's my products with certain things I might have caught right there. I think that cord, but we're gonna find out. It bumped the light, of course. Here we go. And there again, you can't use the roller edge guide because then that causes it to move around. I prefer not to do that myself. And the reason being, this edge isn't already stitched, so it's not really firm and solid. So you can't really trust it when you're going to put the roller edge guide up against it, because then you're not sure if it's going to stay in position, and it can really mess your project up real quick when you do that. Okay, we're going to back stitch 2. We're going to come back 1. That's just what I prefer. Okay, put your foot down on your pedal, pull it back, and cut your thread. Okay, like I said, we're gonna see here how I did. We'll trim the excess off here too as well. So it's well secured at both ends. Using a 207 thread. It's just something I prefer with the way the leather I'm always using. Like I say, we're into about a total of 3/8 of an inch there. So we'll go back to the other camera now. Okay, so everybody hear me all right?
Yeah, you sound good.
You say good?
Yep, he sounds good.
Okay. All right. So anyways, as you're gonna see here now, we'll pull this back. Of course, if you're using like a lightweight chap or a garment leather, you would use that. This is like a 4 or 5 ounce. I use it to do some guitar straps and rifle slings and cases and stuff like that. So as you can see, what it does there, I'm gonna pull back. Sorry to see when it's okay. So you can prefer to leave this back here, or you can peel that away. It's really your choice. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and trim that excess off. Is what I'm going to do here. And take my safety ruler here. Take about 1/4 inch off it. Okay. So then if you want, you can take the time. Leather tape is really strong. So sometimes it's better to leave it versus trying to peel it out and open it. And I think once I get this over to the other camera, I think it would give you a better view of what we're seeing. So how quick can we move this to the other camera? Okay. So anyways, before I move on to the next step, you can see, everybody see the beauty of that, what that looks like. So there again, you can choose whatever size cord or piping you want to use to put in there to how much accent you want to give it. And like I said in the beginning, we'll go back here, is don't use a cord that's been, with fabric and wound and twist and, cotton or nylon. Use something solid so it can't twist and move around and ruin the appearance of your piping. But, that would go like along the bottom of a purse, on the gusset, but it would be going on both sides, up the side and down across the bottom. Okay, so what we're going to do next here, how is our time? Is our next thing here? We're at 25. Okay, so we'll just keep moving along here. Now this here is going to be some black. It's like a chrome tan that been struck through. It's very pliable. You can use it to beef up a belt or something of that nature. I use it actually. It's kind of cool for the main body of a poncho strap, and then I lay my suede on the back so you get the thickness and it's very pliable and flexible. But what we're going to do is we're going to finish the edge with, here again, we're going to go to gunmetal, silver, lambskin. Probably hard to see against black. But anyway, so there again, my tape. So we'll get to the tape here again, a 1/2 inch tape. And when you're coming around sharp corners, I prefer to trim it instead of trying to twirl it and make it harder. Because then you get bumps bumps in it. Okay, so we just have a little piece to put in there on that corner right there. The leather tape is, I think Ohio Travel Bag is now carrying it, as well as, of course, Walbeck has always had it. But those are a couple places you can get the genuine leather tape. You can get it in 1/4 inch or the 1/2 inch, depending on what you're doing. 1/4 inch is pretty common for laying a zipper in a coat, etc. So let's get we'll get the gunmetal lambskin put down. There again, just to be safe, I'm gonna rub it down with the foam folder. Gonna go down the straightaway first. Where I get all the way to the corner, I'm gonna go ahead and get this next piece put in place. So I can just continue with the corner. So now, of course, you'll see. So now we'll come around the corner. Get your finger up in there tight. Hold your index finger on it. Make the leather bend for you. And don't push on this until you come back with like a modeling tool and just gently tap that down so it stays nice and rounded. You don't have any bumps in it, which I'll show you in a minute what that looks like once I get the rest of this put down. Okay, so now I'll come back with the bone folder, carefully press that. And of course, I'm probably making it look easy, but there again, years and years of doing it. So as I said, when you went around that corner, you can see by stopping prior to that corner and get the other piece peeled up to stick down, you don't have any wrinkles or lifts, right up on the edge. You can see this will pull down and lay back for you right here. So you got plenty of room to come in with your walking foot. There again, we used a 1/2 inch double-sided leather tape. So there again, we will be sticking the walking foot in a 1/2 inch and sewing where the leather tape ends. So that's all rubbed down. And that's a solid piece. I'm going to get this excess lambskin out of the way for us. And this little piece down here. And we're going to be good to go. So there again, we're going to come in a 1/2 inch and do our sewing. So we'll go to the other camera here. And so being that we're done, so you get to see this too. Being that we're done doing the cording piping, we no longer need this inner toe piece here. So hopefully I can get this out of here without knocking the light over. There we go. How about that? So we're going to take off the toe from that side and drop that out of there. Because we'll be using the roller edge guide here
to put it up there a half inch in. Just for good measure, throw a screwdriver on it. Tighten it up a little bit. Okay, there again, this is just for practice. Plus it's hidden stitch, you're not gonna see it. And yes, there is brown thread in there. So hang on just a second. I'm gonna come in, put a mark a half inch just to be safe. I'll be right with you. Using a pencil mark, well, hopefully you can see, but I come in there and marked it a half inch. So now I know, bring this over, lift the foot, come in, and I'm gonna have to, as you'll see, the looseness, back it up. Right about there is gonna be sweet. So just hold it up there gentle, tighten it down so it can't move. Lift it and we'll go to where it starts. And there again, I usually try about 2 holes. So I'm going to start right off and back stitch 2. Everybody has their call. This is going to be a tight one, so I'm applying pressure. So it's not quite the same distance because I was holding pressure against it. And get the light in here. And hang on this so it can't pull the thread out from the bottom. So I'm securing this with my thumb and finger. Okay, so now continue. And there again, I simply point this out for safety reasons. We talked about this a couple weeks ago. I'm in the process because I have a couple very serious students that are interested in what I do. And when you buy a Cobra sewing machine, the plate they give you, let me see if I have that handy. I guess I won't bother looking for it this time. It's not worth that anyways. But the opening on it is huge. And this would be falling down into that cavity and you'd be sewing the tip of your thumb or finger. So anyways, I do have a couple students that are serious about learning, building, manufacturing. And so I'll be moving forward, finding a person that's going to be doing the work for me with the manufacturing for it. Because it's all about neatness, about safety, and of course, not having blood on your product when you're building it. So I'm coming into the turn. I'm going to lift the foot a tiny bit so it turns for me and drop the foot and then continue around. And there again, the lambskin's lifting, so I'm going to pull it back, hold it with my finger, and then continue around. And here, like that. Back stitch 2. I wanted to lift because I didn't complete the stitch. Now I'll back up. 1, to come back one. Okay, so there again, there's the back of it. There's the top of it. So now what we're going to do, we'll go over back to the other camera. And, okay, so my son is getting me a Q-tip and some daubers. And there again, I'm using 2-ounce tube of barge cement. You can get it at like Hobby Lobby, places like that, Hyde House. So there again, I'm going to trim the excess thread that's here and over here. And so now what we'll do, so you're going to lay an inch of glue in, because your welt here over here is a 1/2 inch, and of course the lambskin coming over is a 1/2 inch, of course. So you're going to take there again. Looks like I'll definitely have to put more, because the dauber went down first, of course, and it was dry. It just takes a moment to dry. Okay, and there again, it's simply years of experience. In this case, when you're building a product using barge cement, because of the strength of the adhesive, but there again, even rubber cement will do this if it's not set up all the way. When you have a smaller thread, you're using a smaller needle, you're making a smaller hole. The hole in the needle, of course, is smaller for the thread. So what happens is any extra adhesive that is in there that's moist is going to stick in the hole of the needle, which is going to grab the thread. You're going to have problems with it jumping, skipping. 1 thread, 2 thread, you'll back it up 1 or 2, it is still skip. Why? Because there's glue on your needle. So you'll want to take your thumb and finger carefully with the machine shut off and rub and get the extra glue off. And if you're confident enough in yourself, have a rag under there with your right or left hand, grab a Q-tip with denatured alcohol, or they call it a dye solvent, and swipe it up and down on your needle to loosen the adhesive off the needle and clean it up. And then you'll be able to take off and do it again. But as soon as it starts to lift and skip, and that's exactly what's going on, is there adhesive down in that needle, and you have to keep that clean. If it's not clean, it's going to create skipping and jumping. So that's very, very important. So as you can see, this is already set up because I have a ceiling fan running right now. So we'll get to this and we'll start pulling this over. This again is gunmetal, silver. Okay, so I've got the main part. I'm going to try it because this is going to be really, I want you to see all this good. I'm just now getting the edge done down here on the end. As you can see, we're coming into some bubbles and wrinkles, and we're going to grab right through here first. That's what's going to come next. I'm going to forget this over here for now. We're going to get the dangerous spot down in here. We'll worry about this later. We're going to work on the area that is going to give us issues. Because the reason being is you want to control that wrinkle that you have. Don't let it get away from you. Don't let it control you. So you can see where I'm at. I've now taken away those wrinkles, so I'm in control of it, and you'll have a nice, neat job. And so then I'm going to go ahead and go out to get the ends. and finish getting where the curve is, where the wrinkle would be. And then hold it in your hand and bend it around like that. Okay, so there again, just my father was very picky with me. So I'm going to be showing you extra steps that some people will do, some people won't. And so what I'm going to do is there again, I'm going to take my bone folder creaser and I'm going to come right in here and just kind of get anything extra there so it makes any unevenness like right in there. I see some where it shoves out a little bit, it's not straight. So I'm going to lay that down and go right up against it like this. And right here is the turn. You're going to come right around like this. Okay, so there again. See, I want to. Okay, and you can see there is a little wrinkle there in that corner, but that will be gone when we're done. So now what we have is a little bit left right there. It's going to have to be glued on the edge. So when it goes over, it'll stay up there. So you're going to come back with your barge cement. This is where time gets lost here. We're going to try to keep going, and so you can learn as much as possible. I mean, it's your imagination. You can do endless projects with leather. It just depends how much do you want to learn? How far do you want to go with your learning? And of course, myself, I did it for a living. It wasn't just a hobby and tinker with it now and then. And there again, I have a tight spot. I'm going to go in down there with a Q-tip, make sure it gets down in there for me so it sticks on the edge like it's supposed to, and come back with the applicator and open that up. Okay, so we're going to let that dry for a second. But how are we doing on time? Okay, so I'm going to show you just something different while this is drying, because this has already got into the next step. It's way off track, but it's something you get to see with what's going on. This has been in here. What this is, when it's done, it's going to be a spinal back bangle bracelet when it's done. So what I've done is I wrapped it with lambskin, and I've already stitched it in here. And this next step is going to be rolling my edge over on both sides to keep it taut to get that look right there. And we lost. Any questions out there? Okay. Can you hand me that bracelet over there? Do I have any questions? Apparently not. So anyways, here it is finished now. Hopefully there's where it starts and it then comes around.
You might have better luck walking back over by the sewing machine if you can do it over there. It's a little closer and more clear.
Say that again?
Oh, I was saying that you might have a little better luck walking over to the sewing machine and showing that because it's closer and much clearer.
Go to the sewing machine and show it. Like coming more clear. That's angle bracelet.
Oh, show it on the bracelet.
Like once you're done, once you're finished.
He's walking over there now.
I'll show both pieces. I'll go ahead and show both pieces. Go with it now. Okay, so there again, sorry about that. This is all learning process. This is where, that was glued up just like we did for that practice piece. Then I stitched it. And then next here, I'll be folding this over and wrapping that edge around. So you'll see that effect there. And then of course, come around and wrap the other side to have that look. Come on here. And there again, that's spinal back stingray. Now I'll show you the finished side because you have all the excess over here you're playing with. And you always want excess because you can always trim it off. And here it is here finished. I'm watching the camera here trying to show you. All right, here we go. That color is wine, by the way. And then what I did is I took a strip of lambskin and then I lined the inside. So it's beautiful on the inside as well. There again, all the edges are wrapped all the way around. So you have a nice smooth edge in appearance. So there's what that looks like finished. So now we'll go back over here. And we're ready to pull this up now because where we put the glue on the back. And we're going to pull the edge up there over the edge here. So there again, very strong finger. And in fact, I'm going to grab the modeling tool on the turn because of the pressure, it's already wanting to stick. So I'm holding that with my modeling tool, bringing it up, pulling it up here. And here I got it because it's back in the open area. That turn, boy, that leather gets tight. It pulls up against there. Okay, let's go around this end right here. Push it down the modeling tool, grab your lamb, pull it up, stick it down. Here again, I know it's hard because this is all new. I'm trying my best here. So anyways, it's very uneven, but there again, this is all on the back. You do not see none of this once you would normally put a liner right over this so people don't see it. And I don't know what time do we have on that.
Ten to 7 your time.
I think just for fun, even if we have to run over a little bit, I'm gonna throw a piece of suede on the back of it. There. Okay. So, never done this live, so I'm gonna spray this really quick with some adhesive. Can you hand that up there, please? But I just like to show it to you finished, as you'll get to see one more thing here. Okay, so I'm using this stuff right here. Buffalo brand general purpose adhesive. Very, very good stuff, and it's reasonable. And of course, spray your other piece as well. And so we're gonna let that set a moment. Let me trim this out of here. So I'll just show you something while that's drying. So we're accomplishing two things. For example, when we're done sticking this down together and we wrap the edge over, we would then top stitch. So here's what we have on this. This is the front of a holster I created. And that edge is wrapped with lambskin. That's a piece of cobra snake skin that's put out through there in a diamond. That's right in the front of the holster. Okay. And there again, I think how is it to walk over the other camera? Just walk over
Here,
here.
just let Amanda know. We're switching cameras. There you go.
Okay, so as we're learning this camera's better, here is after the edge is wrapped. I'm learning. There's the edges wrapped. Okay, and the back, of course, is already lined with lambskin for me to protect the weapon. And there's the front. Safety strap there. And this will be the inside of it here. And you can see I wrapped the edge, I stitched it, and then I stitched inside again. So it's double stitched. This is padded in here. So it protects the weapon. And then this here, of course, is done all the way around. Been wrapped on the edges. So we'll go back to the other camera now. So I've stuck it down quickly onto a piece of 4 or 5 ounce suede, cowhide suede that is. Okay, so pretty much got it cleaned up there. So I'm just gonna purposely take the one folder here. And we're gonna go up against the edge again, so we know that it's bonded nice. And then what we'll do is press this down like this, that corner where there's a turn, press that like that. And then I'm gonna come down and get that nice and smooth and flat, because there again, that roller edge guide has got it butt up against it. You can see there's a little piece right here. That's got to get clipped. That's in the way for us. Want to get that out of there. Okay. So now we'll go over to the other camera and we are going to top stitch it. We might, just for fun, double top stitch so you get to see it both ways. So we'll go into the closest edge first. And there again, taking mine, I'm not going to switch back and forth because of the clock. I want to show you as much as possible. So it's about knowledge, not about switching colors back and forth, especially when you're on a time schedule. So I'm going to butt that right up against the edge. I'm going to move it forward about 2 stitches out there. A little bit more and back stitch 2. And off we go. It slipped away, so I'm gonna hold it over there away, pull it up behind so I can get back on track. And here we go. And there again, I would be coming back here either with gunmetal silver, or I would be coming back with black to pull the black out of the holster again. So, because this is actually like if I was doing the edge of a holster, I'm trying to watch the piece of leather not bumping the light on us here. All right, just carefully come around the turn. Gonna grab my leather here so it doesn't bump our light. And then just continue around the curve. Okay, we're coming to the end here. 1, 2, reverse, 1, 2. And then like I say, it's not about the color of the thread, it's about showing you how to do the project. And there again. So let me clip the other end. Just for grins, we're gonna double top stitch it just for appearance, so you get to see it in both ways. So loosen up your edge guide, pull your extra thread to be safe, so it can't pull up from the first hole. Okay, so I think what I'll do here for fun, let's see, let's go in about a 1/4 inch. Set your edge guide again. Let's see, back stitch a couple here. And back forward. And there we are. So we're coming through the turn. Get that bent down out of your way so it can't bump the light, Douglas. All right, let's turn around. Yeah, this Cobra machine I got, I think it was like 2009, I recall. Lot to learn. It's a lot to learn. So there's a lot I can share. It's just having the time to do it. And you can see the stitch length even on the back is bear with me here. Stitch length on the back is just as neat on the front. Okay, and then there again, the edge is wrapped there. Okay, so one more thing here so you get to see when finished. Okay, I know the clock's ticking, that's why I want to kind of end with this. Hopefully I can show this because people are saying it's better lighting. But let's go with it right up here. Anyways, I prefer the other camera, but
If you just hold it still, like you can see it. You just gotta quit moving it for a second.
let's move it back here. Let me try this. I'm sorry. You want to try it, Gareth?
What are you trying to do?
Show them the holster, how it's finished.
What, you can see it right there. You're trying to show them the whole thing? And
Yeah.
Try and get the whole picture?
Yeah, let me switch the other camera.
No. fine.
Here, I'll let my son hold it up there.
You sit there.
No.
You have to sit there so I can do this.
All right, well, it's hard to see the camera here.
I know, that's why
And look behind me at the
just
same
hold it
time.
right there. That's what we want.
Everybody see that all right?
Yep, that's good.
Okay, and then there's the edges, how they're done there. Apologize about the camera. And there again, this is padded coming down into here. So anyways, I think that's it for our class. If anybody has any questions here before we close the session, go ahead and ask now.
All right, well, I think everybody is good. So we will have a class next Sunday, correct? I think that's what we had scheduled.
2 weeks. Next week is Father's Day, so it'd be the week after.
I'm just gonna see you next week. That's what it is, in person and not over the phone. Okay. Okay, so the next class will be on the 27th, and I will get a Zoom link posted in the group for that. Hope everybody has a great couple weeks, and we'll see you then.